And hello to all my friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your Quadrants video for 2023, the much-awaited Quadrants video. So what is a quadrant and how does it apply to you? Well, each sign is getting your own video, your own divination. I've done all the heavy lifting and all the reading stuff ahead of time, so you'll notice I don't even have a tarot card on this table. That's all been done. We're just going to go over your notes here. So what is a quadrant? A quadrant is a quarter of a circle. So if we look at your year, like the full encompassing circle, we're going to take a piece of the pie out of that and break it down one quarter at a time. Each quadrant is going to represent 3 months of your year. The first quadrant is going to be January, February, March. The second quadrant will be April, May, June. The third will be July, August, September, and the fourth, of course, October, November, December. Now, of course, if you're great at taking notes, you only have to kind of watch this video once. You take some awesome notes that you can refer back to. For everybody else, this video will be up permanently. It's not going anywhere. So you can come back to reflect on your quadrants as they happen. I think it's best to check out your quadrant right before the new one starts so you can reflect back on the one that just passed and also get your new information for the one that you're about to live so you can remember and kind of refresh. So either way you're going to do that will be just fine. And let's go over a couple important other things here. Of course, this is the only time of year that I do quadrants it's basically because I go out a whole year. And the further out you go and the further out you look in divination, the fuzzier it gets. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory to everybody. Most people understand that. And for that reason, I usually don't divine out this far. I don't extrapolate out for 12 months. Usually I do like 6 at the most. So this is the only time of year that I do that, first of all. And, divination forecasting here is an outline. So this is not the specifics of your entire year, but it presents an outline that you can plan and prepare very important things too. So for example, like we're going to look at things like vacation amongst 10 other topics here. So what is the best quadrant for you to take a vacation in? Spirit's going to figure this out by your sign and give you a couple bingos here, a couple little peaks or little marks here, little check marks on the map of when this would be the best time for you guys, for your sign to do that. Of course, this is a general reading and we have a lot of bubble energy tuning in to your sign, and that muddles it up a little bit. So that's why you really need a personal at the end of the day. And quadrants for the first time is being offered as a personal product, an audio product, so that way you have a keepsake and something to refer back to as well. But it's all about you and that. So what else are we going to talk about here? First of all, it's going to be generally a positive reading. The reason I do that, I don't do all just positive readings. Some people do that. I don't. I kind of give you the whole thing. But to keep this kind of short and concise, we cannot talk about every single thing that is going to happen in your year. And both, whether we talk about good or bad things, they're both good for planning and preparation, because the bad things you would just try to avoid and the good things you would just go and move towards. Because at the end of the day, they're both functional. They both get the job done, but one is much better well received than the other. Much people would gravitate toward the positive, and hey, if it was a reading that was all about negativity, nobody wants to hear that. And then there would be those people that would be like scared of certain events, and that just doesn't help. That only kind of brings it in more. It attracts it more. So we don't want any of that stuff. So this is going to be a relatively positive reading, long story short. Okay, so without further ado, now that you understand the ground rules, let's get moving with planning and preparing for your year. Okay, Capricorn, here we go. Quadrants 2023. The first theme for quadrant number 1, which is January, February, and March. Just the theme, the whole big umbrella of the whole big picture here. They bring in the hoarder card. So basically this is an request to stop hoarding, really to let something open up here. So whether this is financial or health, that's usually where it sits because it's a pentacle card. So that usually represents financial, or on the health side, usually whatever you've been hoarding the most of and really need to open up, whatever corner of your life this would apply to. Quadrant 1 is the theme here. So you got 3 months to work with this here and really kind of get this on track in a big way. They bring in, they also say they say it in a sarcastic way, kind of like open it up, hot shot. Like, you've been saving this, this is pent up energy for way too long. We need to open up the finances, or we need to open up your health in general. So that's the theme for your first 3 months in general. Powerful way to start. Now we got a ping here for love. Corner coming up for quadrant 1 with fast traveling news. Now, that can be just about anything, but it's something literally that wasn't here the day before, and like now you're getting notification about it. It's like your sister saying, "Hey, I'm pregnant," surprise, something like that, right? So it's fast traveling news, something you didn't really see coming. In the love corner, this can be love related, like love relationship, but it can also be family related, like friends and close family members. Anybody close to your heart can come in here. So they got fast traveling news happening in quadrant 1, so not much we can do about that except for maybe expect it, be ready for it when it comes. We have another financial ping here for growth, but it's slow growth, okay? So this is moving in a good direction. Growth sometimes does take time, and it's okay, because as long as we have growth, especially in an economy like we have right now, record high 40-year inflation and so forth, growth in any capacity is a great thing to see. So we got that pinging in quadrant 1 for my Capricorns. Capricorn, we also have some health here, pinging in health, and that makes sense too, because you remember the very first theme we talked about was health or finances, and both of them pinged. We got a ping in the financial, now our ping for health talks about individual health by yourself, doing something by yourself for yourself. So it's not like going to CrossFit with 10 other people. It's not going to the gym with a friend. There's something that you are doing by yourself here that they really want you to push to improve yourself in quadrant 1. Now, the last ping that we have is going to be between quadrant 1 and 2, because we got pings for this in both, and this is the vacation section. So when is the best time for Capricorn to vacation? When is the best time for Capricorn to relax and take it easy? Now, it's 1 and 2, but here's the thing, and I do kind of feel like this is going to be a rough year for Capricorn to do such things as a vacation and really get that time away and let it do what it's supposed to do. It's a challenging time, but it best fits into 1 and 2. So for 1, what they show is this is if you got somewhere to go that's far away. Okay, maybe another state, another country for some people, somewhere that's the opposite of local travel, because we have local travel coming up next. But for quadrant 1, they say if you got somewhere far to go, this is the best time to do it here. January, February, and March. Okay, let's get into quadrant 2, guys. And since I'm still talking about vacation, blending into quadrant 2, we're going to start there. So if you got somewhere that's more localized vacation to go, that fits better into quadrant 2, which is April, May, and June. Okay, so basically the question you ask yourself is, well, is it far or is it close? And those are your 2 quadrants that it fits in the best, guys. Now the big theme of quadrant 2, now we're zooming back out, is home focus. Focus on the home, the family. It could be the home itself, like structurally or doing renovations, upgrading, improving, stuff like that, maybe moving for some people. They also bring in home health, and they bring in finances for the home. So it makes me feel like a lot of you are doing some kind of renovation thing or putting money into the home for certain reasons. Maybe it's a down payment for a home, or maybe it's moving to a different apartment, putting down money for that, or whatever. But we have home focus coming in for quadrant 2, so that is the big deal. Now, as we get into individual pings, we have another one here for finances. So we got finances tapping out here in quadrant 1 and 2. Things are getting very interesting financially in quadrant 2. So that usually is a good kind of interesting. It's usually an improvement. It's not like a downslide. It's, improvements going on, maybe new ways to make money coming in. And of course, that's April, May, and June, guys. We have another ping for health. They talk about, this is also the second health ping, which will now end for our health kick here. It shows unshared information. So basically, like, they can't really talk about what this is about right now. Okay, this is something that either will be discussed later, or there's too many Capricorns here in the bubble energy to really kind of get too specific about. But they say that this information regarding health is unshared right now, or unknown, or maybe hidden, and rest is going to be a big deal for this. So keep in mind, anything going on for health in quadrant 2, that a big part of the solution is more rest, more relaxation, maybe getting away from the busy, getting off your feet a little bit, or whatever it is for you. I got to also tell you guys, you got a lot of pings here for quadrant 2. It's going to be a very busy quadrant. Same thing with 3, and then 4 gets very simple. You guys get very simple to end the year. So let's keep going with quadrant 2 here. Busy and productive. The best quadrant to be busy and productive is actually number 2. So that is probably why rest is huge, guys. You see what they did there. It's getting busy. They show work authority and like being the boss, okay? Being the boss over something, or holding yourself accountable for what you're doing with work, what your worth career path or job path is doing. And work also talks about learning new things. For some of you, this is going back to college, learning new different accreditations, different skills, and all that kind of stuff. So, and for some of you, this could even be being your own boss. Okay, so that all pings there for quadrant 2. We talked about the near travel there, and also taking risks. They give you guys a lot of information here because they show you the best way to take risks in Quadrant 2, and they also show you the best way to play it safe and be conservative in Quadrant 2. But first, let's do risks. They talk about car renewal, getting rid of the old. When I say car, I really mean transportation. For most people, that's car. That's how we get around. But for, different people get around different ways. So they talk about something renewing your transportation with there, or in the transportation like area or realm, getting renewed and getting rid of something that's old. So we're improving energy there. And with that, they talk about risks are good. Okay, so that's something that you could spend money on, really take a gamble with. It's not really a gamble, if it's for your transportation. It's pretty important stuff, You got to make sure that's covered. That's how we get to work and so forth. Safe and conservative. They talking about safe with head. Safe with head specifically. So this is like, it makes me feel like health, really. But they didn't say that. They just said head. So the head of what? Maybe the head of work. Play it safe with your boss. I don't know. Maybe you got to tiptoe around that guy or that gal a little bit those 3 months. But they say safe with the head specifically. So it's either, that would be an example of work. Something with health here would be safe with your head. Wear a helmet when you're on a motorcycle, or when you're riding your bike, or rollerblading, or activities like that could make you could fall and hit your head. That's the area you want to play safe. So play safe with your head there in Quadrant 2. Quadrant 3, guys, the main theme is a really nice one to see here. We got big money available in Quadrant 3 for a lot of my Capricorns, guys. This is ripe for the pickings. Get this money going. They talk about work. And this is a big part too, because we have the Sun card coming in for Quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 again is July, August, September. And the Sun card is basically saying all golden energy. It is the best card in the tarot deck. We have stuff here that is destiny type stuff going on with work. So we actually have a work ping for 3 and 4. This is the first time they really talked about work specifically as far as big deals. And Quadrant 3 is such a good time for just about anything you're trying to do with work. So really nice kick there. Now we got the love ping coming in here for Quadrant 3 with new business. So loving new business, loving new home renovations. We talked about a little bit of that, both sides there. We got fast traveling news that came in on Quadrant 1. That could also be, you changing things very fast with your love situation, and I do mean romantic. So they brought in new business. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily about work. It could be for a lot of people, but it's about finding something that you really love. That's what this is about. And home renovations, yeah, we covered that. So moving down to busy and productive, we have another busy and productive ping for Quadrant 3. They talk about action with work. So they are specifically really kind of bracketing you off, guys, that Quadrant 3 is a very work-oriented quadrant. Action with work, they want you to take action, get busy with it, do what you got to do, whatever you're trying to do. Quadrant 3 is the best time to launch. We have taking risks and going for it. They talk about good credit, so money can be moved very well in Quadrant 3. And also karmically, energetic credit, getting return on your investment with people, with situations and the whole like. And then we end with Quadrant 3 with safe and conservative. We got a ping there too with what they want you to play safe with is ideas that are not polished. Okay, so this would be like if you have a new business idea, you want to do it, but you haven't really 100% or 200% figured out everything how this is going to work. Okay, this is not the time to launch if that's the case. They want you to be safe with ideas that are not mature. Okay, this is something like if you're launching and you're doing all this work stuff and financial moves and action with all that, this has got to be an idea that is very polished, that you have let mature, you have thought about completely, you've been through all the little different bullet points and so forth. So very important for Quadrant 3. Besides that, 2 thumbs up, guys. Looking good. Quadrant 4. The main theme we start with is patience. So that's indicating that there's going to be a need for that going on there in Quadrant 4. Maybe even between 3 and 4 in some capacity here. And they want you to do things by the book. So it's very important not to cut corners or do anything, shady or shisty. It could come back to bite you here in Quadrant 4. So first of all, be patient. Try your best to. I know it's hard to be patient sometimes, but you don't want to push things too hard, too fast, or in ways that aren't going to benefit you. So doing things by the book can also be like a legal kind of push there too. Making sure that you're doing things the correct way legally if you have something like that going on. And the only other ping we have for Quadrant 4, which is pretty wide open for you guys here, it's going to be a very nice, open, breezy month, or 3 months really. But they talk about, we got our last work ping. Coming off of the 3, they talk about new journey, new launch, new and exciting things happening with work in Quadrant 4. And we just had great energy in Quadrant 3 too. So the end of the year for my Capricorns is very strong about work. very, very strong. A lot of new stuff and potential, big money that comes with that. And they show mending. So some of you are doing new journeys with healing yourself, or it has to do with stitching, or it has to do with like healing other people, something like a nurse practitioner you'd expect to come up for that, or a doctor, or something like that. But it can also be about you healing too. Maybe healing your finances, healing your workload to the point where you really love what you do, something like that. So that's going to wrap up what has been a very good 2023 for quadrants. You can see, guys, how the outline of this whole thing allows you to put certain great things in your life, to plan and prepare the best times to do certain moves. And that's why I made this available as a personal product for January only, guys. It is the best thing to buy if you're going to only buy one thing all year long, because it covers all year long and it's specific to you, where we're sharing the bubble energy of Capricorn here. Now in the personal private audio reading, which you get as a keepsake, you can reflect back on that all year long, and that is all about you. So that's going to conclude our reading here today, guys. I hope you have a wonderful 2023, and I'll talk to you soon.